and we will start. We are in Shin Vav. I had to actual requests from Rav Nachum of particular things he wanted me to do. That's why we have some Magen Avraham in here. But we'll get there. Hopefully, we'll see. We are we'll start with Daled. We did the first three plus Seifim last time. We're not going to do all of the Seifim. We're going to do some of them though. I'll read the Shulchan Aruch as I've been doing, and then you guys get to do the Mishnah Berurah, etc. So, all right, Daled, Sif Daled, Hasocher Tapoel, Lishmor Zraim Davar Acher, Eino Noten Lo Schar Shabbat. All right. So Reuben hires me to watch his farm. And you can't give me my salary for Shabbat. Salary is the wrong word. My payment for Shabbat. Lefichach einach root Shabbat alav, and therefore I have no responsibilities. So if you're like, Joel, watch my field on Shabbat, and someone steals all your produce, well, too bad. I had no achrayut.
Or you're not in that case you're not a shomer chinam.
Well, good. It's a great point. I am a shomer chinam, so I would have achrayut if I didn't guard it in the minimal level.
And if you're right, okay.
Yeah, so you have to do shomer chinam level is fine. But if it's stolen and I guarded it minimally and it was stolen, then the shomer chinam isn't responsible. So
not even they're patur mishvua also, right?
No. They have to make a shvua if they're going to claim loss or stolen, they have to make a shvua. So that's a shomer chinam. So okay. Hayas chir Shabbat. But what if you're hired for the week? Shabbat here, of course, means week and not. It's very confusing. Schir chodesh, schir shana, schir shavua, or you're hired for a month, a year, or a 7-year period. Noten lo schar Shabbat. Then you can give him. Reuben can pay me the schar Shabbat. Leficha achrayut Shabbat alav. And now I'm responsible like a shomer schar on this field. V'lo yomar li lo ten li shel Shabbat. But I can't say to you, hey, give me my Shabbat salary. But I can say, give me here he switches, I think Shavua means a week all of a sudden. Give me the week or the month. So it doesn't matter which it actually means, but Ve'im scharo lechodesh is the Roma. V'hitna imo l'shalem lo kol yom I think it's vayom, right? Kol yom kach v'chach mikre skir yom. And he's like, you can hire me for a long time, but you condition with me that you're going to pay me such and such each and every day, as opposed to like, I'm going to pay you, I'm hiring you for a month, I'm going to pay you, I don't know, $300, as opposed to saying, I'm hiring you for a month, I'm paying you $30 per day. That's a problem. If you say I'm paying you $30 per day, because then it sounds like you're actually paying me for Shabbos, right? Oyo marlo ten li schar asara yamim. And what I can do is I can, sorry, that's just a continuation of what we had before. You can say, though, Reuben, can you pay me for this last week, or can you pay me for the last month? So, okay, I wanted to do 2 Mishnah Berurah pieces. One is Yud Chet, which was, this is the concept of Havla'ah. That the Shabbat is balua within the rest of the week. So let's say Yud Chet Hayas Schir Shabbat. Josie, why don't you take it away for us?
Hainu shel kol hashavua b'yachad. The al karho noten lo schar Shabbat. The רוצה לומר שאפילו אם יחזור הפועל בתוך הזמן, אינו מנקה לו שכר שבתות מזמן שעבר. הואיל והוא בהבלעה עם שאר הימים, וזהו דקמסיים המחבר שיכול הפועל לומר תן לי שכר 10 ימים, דמי ראשון חוזר הפועל באמצע השבוע השני. וממילא מחויב לשמור גם בשבת, ואם אירע הפסד חייב לשלם. So that was a long sentence.
It was.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, give a general translation. You don't have to do word by word. So.
Right. So if he's giving him a whole, it's basically it's almost like pshita. If you're paying him for a whole week, you have to pay him for a Shabbat, right? Because it's obvious you're paying him for a 7-day period, and every 7-day period is going to have a Shabbat in the interim.
Yeah.
And even if the worker says stops working in the middle of the week, you can't neglect, you can't take that money out because you agreed to pay him for the week.
Exactly. So.
Because it's sort of all swallowed up in those days. So the havla'a is this idea that's like it's a big, it's like one big bolus of pay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is and the brackets there is and this is the way the Beit Yosef decides to say, give me for 10 days, which is the same deal.
But I think he's saying, right, 10 days means that you were hired for 2 weeks, but you quit in the middle, right? And he's like, and nonetheless, you give him Shabbos piece as well.
You give me the 10 days, even if I don't do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Hava meaning here is like, if you quit in the middle, then you have to go calculate day by day.
You get the pro rata.
Exactly.
Where you stopped. But so you'd have to break it down into like, but maybe not day, like 10 14ths, because there were 10 days in those 2 weeks, 14 days. So you get 10 14ths as opposed to 10, 1/7 of a week.
So exactly. So
mathematically it's identical, but it seems to be a little loopholey.
Yeah. So no, it's exactly right. And so, okay, yes, it's a loophole in the way that, I mean, it's worth saying, we do have these ways that, there's certain things you just need to accomplish on Shabbat that we permit because they're not full, it's not a full-blown malacha, right? It's that kind of stuff. And we have to find ways to permit it. But we want to do it in like a very genuine way of like, all right, yeah, it's not because like we're only paying you for Shabbat. This is like just part of a larger process that you're going through.
You have a salaried employee as opposed to an hourly. So basically, the Mechaber is saying if ever you're hired over Shabbat, you're actually in management track.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Right.
there's a lot deeper things to say based on this about if we go to Chosh HaMishpat, what the Shulchan Aruch thinks the appropriate ways to hire people are and so forth. Okay, good. In Kaf Aleph, I just wanted to see this because the Mishnah Berurah brings a very live case. And it also helps with like something we talked about in class. This is the case where the 10-day case, but he's going to use it as like just a jumping off point. So maybe Kaf Aleph, Ruben, you want to read for us?
Yes, happily. 1 second. Okay. Kaf Aleph. Sorry, with all of the I have too many tabs open. Okay, I'm good. I'm here. Oyomar b'chulei. ומה שנוהגים הסוחרים לזכור יהודי בערב שבס לשמור העגלות מן הגניבה, הדבר קשה. איך הסוחר עובר על לפני אור, כיוון שיודע שוודאי... Sorry, לפני עיוור, of course. Thank you, Kamisa. על לפני עיוור, כיוון שיודע שוודאי יקבל שכר שבת. ולכן ראוי שיתנה עם השומר שישמור גם ביום ערב שבס, ובמוצאי שבס, איזה שעות, ואז הווה כשכר שבת בהבלעה ושרי. חיי אדם?
Yeah, it's a Chai Adam. Yeah.
Okay,
Chai Adam there. That's interesting.
Sorry, say that again.
The Chai Adam predates the Mishnah Berurah? I thought they were contemporaries.
No. He predates him by about 100 years, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, 100 years, I didn't know that. Okay. Or this is the very end, or you can say, give me my pay for 10 days work. And he's writing about the practice of the merchants to sell things to to hire Jews on Erev Shabbos, to guard boats from
wagons, I think.
Yeah,
wagons.
I think
thank you, wagons. Yeah,
wagons. Is these are either the actual carts that they sell out of, or that they're the wagons that they use to get their stuff to the market, something like that.
I was imagining like push carts that people used to sell things out of. I don't know what the
here's what I imagine. Maybe I'm wrong. I imagine that the marketplace is still set up, and they get a Jew to like wander the market. Like all of their little stalls essentially are set up, right? Which and they get a Jew to kind of watch the entire marketplace to make sure that nobody, while everyone's on Shabbos at home and in shul, right, that this Jew will like guard the place and make sure no one steals it. So
that makes sense. That sounds like what's happening. Okay, so this practice is difficult. How is it that the merchant can be over lifnei iver? Because it's known, it's a known fact that certainly these Jews are receiving Schar Shabbos for this. And therefore it's appropriate that the people who are hiring these Jews to guard should make condition with them that they're also guarding during the day on Erev Shabbos, and also some part of Motzei Shabbos as well, for a few hours. So like bookending that time. And then it's like Schar Shabbos is sort of swallowed up by also being schar for other parts of the week, and it's permitted.
Good.
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, two notes, just a couple notes on it. It could be that because we saw it in some other Achronim that it's either Erev Shabbat or Motzei Shabbos. It doesn't matter which one. You don't have to do both necessarily. But maybe the Chai Adam thinks you need both. It also
I'm sorry. So you're saying the Erev Shabbos uva Motzei Shabbos it's an either or. It's not a both situation.
Exactly.
You're not bookending. Okay.
Yeah, unless the Chai Adam thinks you need both. I don't know, but we also, it just occurred to me the Chai Adam himself was a merchant.
Actually, it sounds like both because it says Gam Bayom Erev Shabbat uva Motzei Shabbat.
He does say Gam. Yeah, you're right. So maybe he's stricter than we've seen. He thinks you need to do both.
Maybe he's saying you have to swallow. I mean, that makes sense with Shabbat, right? You're swallowing Shabbat with after. So
but
why would you be there on Shabbos?
Good point. Yeah. It is interesting though to me that you don't need to, like, the Havla'ah here doesn't have to be majority not Shabbos, right? It's at least I don't think so. You can have, as long as you have hours around Shabbat as well, like beyond Shabbat, you're fine. It doesn't have to be like it's batel, or something like that.
It feels fairly lenient because I know Erev Shabbos. I feel like the way that Erev Shabbos is talked about in the Mishnah and other sources, it's almost as if it's like quasi Shabbos because there are a lot of restrictions on what you can or cannot do, even mi ba'od yom. So it's interesting that it's like just do a little bit.
And remember, he's not doing a malacha at the.
That's okay. That's a very good point. Yes, I sure keep reminding myself.
Yeah,
it can be usher, but it does not mean it's a malacha. You're right.
Yeah, we're in the section of the Shulchan Aruch that's not, or that's really the tour, right? It's not dealing with malacha. Remember, that's the tour's intro in Shin Aleph. He will eventually get dealing with malachot. But right now we're dealing with, this pasuk from Yeshayahu, right? Im tashim raglecha, so chavasach b'yom kodeshi, right? That's so it's a Rabbanan level set of pieces. So, okay, I want to jump to I guess it was Hey, maybe Hey Vav.
You say your source is Siv Vav Magen Avraham Siv Katan 2 Psikat Tzedakah Lechazan.
Yeah, it is. It's Vav. It's Vav that I wanted to look at. Hey was just actually, I'll read Hey too, just because it was good. It's gonna, because we'll have to mix the two anyway in this next piece. Asurli skor chazanim l'chipalel b'Shabbat v'yesh mi shematir. Right, we saw this play out actually. Some people say you can't pay a chazan for Shabbat, and then we saw the opinion that you can actually. But and then we have this nice thing in the Rav, im scharo l'shana or l'chodesh l'chuli al mashare. You can maybe hire him for the year or for a month, and then everyone agrees that it's okay. And then we had this whole question about, well, like, what if he only davens on Shabbos? But if he prepares on the weekday, what if he davens on the weekday, right? These are all ways to kind of have havla'ah happen for the chazan. This, by the way, I've heard this. I don't know if this is true. I guess in rabbinic contracts, but often for some shuls these days, especially smaller shuls, or the rabbi's just there for Shabbat. There's no weekday minyan, maybe in a small town or something like that. And there's the whole question, well, how do you pay? The rabbi gives a drash in Shabbat, maybe, that kind of stuff. Like, how do you pay the rabbi for that? And they're like, well, the prep time, right? They have to prep.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's the usual, ruse that is used to do this is, or the rabbi may also be available off hours for she'elot, or available to do, life cycle events.
Yeah. It's I do wonder about it a little bit. I mean, maybe we're using the Yesh material. I actually did. I was like a summer shul in Massachusetts where I laned for them and did some davening, and then they paid me for it. And either we're working on the lenient opinion there. In that case, though, I was also hired to do stuff where I was like on Wednesday I would hold office hours, and you could also claim they were paying me for the prep, right? For the laning particularly, most of the time wasn't doing the laning. I was laning the whole parsha every week, right? So that's
Oh,
like
wow. Yeah.
there's a lot of preparation to do it correctly and to do it well. So, or maybe I was in Avrayan. I don't know. I got to think about that. All right. Shinvav. I'm skipping to I'm moving to my Shulchan Aruch with the Magen Avraham. I didn't read it yet. Chafsei Shamayim mutar ledaber bahem. You can talk about, heavenly business transactions and needs and so forth. The kegon cheshbonot shel mitzvah, like calculating mitzvot. V'lisoch staka, to like declare a certain amount of stuff that you're going to give to staka. Upakeach aliskei rabim, right? To take care of public matters or public interests. Ulshadech hatinot leares, or you can make shidduchim, just like we have in the song. Ulamdo sefer omonot, or you can teach a child. Is that interesting? Is it to actually teach them, a book or umanut, or it may be to like get someone to teach them V'davka l'daber imrotzeh listaker, because it sounds like it's really, we're talking about the case of, you say to like Reuben, my daughter needs a tutor in Yiddishkeit. Can you please do that? I don't know. And I can't. Would you be interested? But I could say that of what I can't say is like, okay, you're hired. I'm going to pay you $100.
Right.
Not allowed. Hagav yeshrim de makom shenogim litin lekoreh batorah mishaberach v'nodeh listakar l'chazan. De'asur b'Shabbat lifsok kama yiten v'aminhag lekel. Some people say that this thing that they do, I've had this happen. You're in you get called up to the Torah, and they finish. They say mishaberach for you. I had this happen at a Chabad once, and they're like, and you will, in the middle of the mishaberach, they're like, Yedidya Avi, yeah, who's no dare. And they're like, oh gosh, I gotta give an amount now, right? They're literally asking for an amount. Some people say that you can't do that. Which really, by the way, if you ever are in that situation and you're like I paskin like the Resha of the Rama,
I don't know about that.
But he does say that's the Orzara. It's the Orzara. He says hag le'akel though. Who mutarli sok staka, right? He says the minhag we have is to be lenient about this. So maybe I can't.
But a lot of places will do this, and instead of saying like, because I've heard it done where someone will get up and they'll say like shenoder, chai dollar, or mea dolarim, or kiddush hayom, right? It's and that there are actually two different cases, because if you're already donating kiddush, you've already paid for it. So this is a recognition that you've done this.
Yeah.
But if you're, in the future, so they'll either say shabli neder,
yes,
something like that, or they'll just say shenoder matana lebeit knesset, which is what a lot of people will, especially guests, will say. I've heard this said, because they don't know if they're going to give 1836, or $5, like any.
Yeah, it's that actually happened today. We had it was actually the yard site for my friend Monica Wall's sister Samwell, who was murdered last year in Detroit, and we put together a yard site minyan. We're having minyan throughout the year until the 11 months was over, that we were putting together for after school drop off so that Monica could say Kaddish. We had one today, and she did a Kel Maleh, and I don't know if someone handed her the text she prepared beforehand, but it was a bli neder, right, that she would give staka on Sam's behalf. But she did say bli neder at the end of it. Although knowing Monica, I'm sure she will give very nicely, because she is a very generous person. So
bli neder doesn't mean you're not going to do it. It just means you're not going to have to deal with it in Kol Nidre.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, or whatever it is. It's have her hot and the Darim will work. So okay, I want to look at the Magen Avraham here. This was Yod Chet. Is that no, not Yod Chet. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong place. Tedvav in the Magen Avraham. This was Lifsok Staka. That's right. And oh yeah, there it is. Josie.
לפסוק צדקה, ומכל מקום צריך לעיון אם ההזן עשיר. אם כן, לא לצדקה, תחשב. Techashev, excuse me.
Yeah, great.
It says it's not considered. In any case, you have to really, look into this case, because what if it's a wealthy chazan? It's not really tzedakah you're giving him at this point. You're actually just paying him. It's tzarich lamar kevan shenotnim lo zeh kedei sheyitpalel have tzorech mitzvah. Midi dehave shehaposkin maot livnot beit knesset.
Yeah. So.
Right. So that you're giving it to him so that he would this is the tzorech mitzvah, right? Which is I'm not quite sure exactly how to. But tzorech lamar, you have to say that you're giving it to him this so that he should pray, and this is like a tzorech mitzvah.
Yeah, and he's like, that's similar to like when you give money to build a Beit Knesset, right? It's like tzorech
It
mitzvah.
sounds like payment to me. This is very strange.
It is. He seems to really be poskening here that that you can pay the guy at the end of the day. We're gonna follow.
Yeah, and just say it's the tzorech mitzvah.
So I don't remember actually. Does the Eshel Avraham say anything here? I don't remember if he does on this.
Let's take a look.
So leaf soak. Oh no, he just brings the yam.
Hitir af michado b'Shabbat. Ayin the Taz Otbet.
So, where you're looking at the Mishpasot Sahav, aren't you?
It says Eshel Avraham. Oh no, the Eshel Avraham.
The Eshel Avraham should say on this one it's leaf soak, but he says I am again Avraham, and then he's bringing the Yam Shel Shlomo, which is the next piece in it.
I have the leaf soak, and mine just said maybe I have a different edition. It's just it looks like it says Ayin Tor Zahav. What bet?
That's the Mishpasot Sahav. That's the yeah.
Great.
I'm positive. For no other reason, just that I don't know if you know the Pri Megadim. The Pri Megadim has
maybe they're completely reversed on this page. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, the Pri Megadim.
And I've got Eshel Avraham next to each other.
Oh, interesting. He right, the Pri Megadim comments on the two major achronim on the Shulchan Aruch on that on that section, and so in Orach Chaim he's got the Mishpatzot Zahav on the Taz and the Eshel Avraham on the Magen Avraham. That's his always worth the way he's a little. It can be complicated sometimes, but always worth looking at, especially if like for later customs, like as an example, if you actually want a source on which of the Hoshanot we say which day on Sukkot, that whole pattern that there's all these charts in the Machzorim and so forth in the Sidurim. It's all in the Pri Megadim. He brings all of it. So
what is the Eshel Avraham have to say on this?
He doesn't talk about this particular topic. He goes on because there's more. We're not done with this Magen Avraham, so we should look at a little bit more of it maybe.
Are you? I'm going to send you a picture of this. I'm 100% positive because it says Ayin Magen Avraham, Ayin Taz. He said list both of them.
Oh, I wonder if
Divrei Hakol Bo Haim Ke Rabbeinu Chaim?
I don't know.
I think maybe that might be because the Magen Avraham has a couple of comments that start with leaf soak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The leaf soak and Yud Aleph. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. There's leaf soak Yud Aleph. Then there's
leaf soak Yud. Okay. Then I have
this one here, which is Tet Vav.
Oh, there's the leaf soak. Okay, I'm sorry. I am Magen Avraham Heavy.
Yeah, it's got Yam Shel Shlomo, but we're going to go back to the Magen Avraham for a moment, and we'll see why I want to go back to the Magen Avraham. So
sorry, thank you.
It's okay. You took me down a road, and that was good. Okay. Josie, read a little bit more. Katava Yam Shel Shlomo.
I am Magen Avraham Heavy Yam Shel Shlomo.
No, not the Pri Megadim. Go back to the Magen Avraham.
Magen Avraham. Okay. Hold on a second. Katav Hayam Shel Shlomo Perakei de Beitza Siman Chet Hachrazat Mitzvot Mi Sheiten Yoterhu Yiske Badamei Damei Tfei LeMekach Omemkar.
And 3 more words.
The haya nira l'asur.
Mm-hmm.
Im lo shne'amar she'en shayach mekach memchar b'devar mitzvah. Ki im v'chefetz nikneh. V'chol zeh eno ela liyashev haminhag b'dochak.
Yes. So we'll start with that. So
Let's go back to this. This is so the Yam Shel Shlomo brings down that the announcement of a mitzvah of someone who gives yoterhu yizkeh.
yeah.
He gives more yizkeh bad demei tefillah.
Oh, I think it's like if I make an announcement, like anyone who makes tzedakah, you're going to get greater reward out of it in the end, right? He says that is damei tefillah mekach memkar. That seems a little bit too close for my comfort to actually like, an exchange, a purchase. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah. Unless you say that mekach memkar isn't relevant to a devar mitzvah, right? It's only when you actually being bechefetz hanikneh, only something you actually buy, right? So.
And this is all about, this is all like a very forced argument.
Mm-hmm. So.
קניית מקומות בבית הכנסת וכן קניית האתרוגים מן הקהל אחר גמר מצוותן אסור. But certainly purchasing I guess a seat in the Beit Knesset or purchasing used etrogim after you're done with them is forbidden.
Yeah, actually skip the parenthetical there. I'm just thinking about how I'm gonna skip you. It's a nice piece there too, but I'm gonna skip a little bit. You see mekach memkar echad bepeh uvechad b'mesira.
Shilte Giburim, is it before
after that? Right after the Shilte Giburim.
Oh, that's sketchable. Mekach memchar echad bepeh echad b'mesira asur. This is sort of later in the Orach Chaim. Gezerah shema yichtov, and this is he's quoting the Rambam here. Katav Yosef Siman Tafkuf Chav Zayin. The Mordechai Sover the Asur litain dvar b'matana lechavero b'yom tov v'shabbat eli im kein letzorach mitzvah ad kana shana. So why is mekach memkar really here prohibited? By either orally or through some kind of like chalifin type of thing.
Yeah, you're just giving him, like you just give him the object, right?
Yeah. So it's forbidden to give somebody a gift on Shabbat and Yom Tov unless it's for the purpose of a mitzvah. Like I'm giving you, here's my etrog, so you can own the etrog. Here's my lulav, so you can own the lulav.
Yeah.
And it can be yours. Upashut l'tzorach Shabbat share k'mo shekatav siman shin kaf gimel.
Exactly. So I want to stop there. I think, yeah, there's so much more in this Magen Avraham, but this is just a couple good highlights I wanted to get. So that what's the problem? It's with Mekach Memkar, it's all about writing. And it is, by the way, rabbinic, right? Isur on writing. It's not a deraita. And writing, of course, itself is, of course, deraita. But although we'll see, is it next week? No, it's this week. We may see something about that today. And on Shabbat, you can give gifts for Shabbat, and you can give gifts, for the day for Yom Tov. but you can't you can't come to someone's house and give them a gift. Like, I don't know, here's a new vase or vase, depending on how you pronounce it. Because you invited me for Shabbos. That's a problem. And there's two ways around it. I think this got mentioned in class too, but just, do you guys remember the two ways around that?
You give it to a third person who acquires it on your behalf beforehand.
Exactly. You're a zocha for that person, right? That's way number one. There's another way. This is the less, like, let's pretend the person bringing you the gift forgot to do that, right?
You don't acquire this until after Shabbat.
Exactly. Yeah, you have in your mind that I'm not acquiring this.
see.
Sorry, Ruben, say that again.
No. I was just confirming to myself that I now remembered it when someone had said it. Just ignore me.
Yeah. This is just it's an important thing to know, because it does happen on Shabbos. Someone comes over to your house, they bring a gift. Sometimes they're good about it. There's ahead of time. If you do any kiruv kind of work, or kiruv more properly, you're going to get people who come over. I mean, I don't know. I do this stuff in a little bit, and you get all sorts of interesting things that you have to think about the Shabbos implications of. People, bring things. There's a muksa, all sorts of stuff. But in this case, like, if they give you a gift and it's no muksa concerns any of that, you take the gift and you just think in your head, I'm not going to acquire this till after Shabbos. So, but you of course don't want to embarrass the person if you can avoid that. So, okay, good. I'm going to skip, actually. Let's go to Seif Chet, back to the Mishnah Berurah. So I'll go to the Shulchan Aruch, and then I'm going to put a little marker in my page here. There was a nice biur halacha, but it was about learning versus spending all your time learning versus spending your time doing work. It's interesting. We're going to skip it based on time. So instead, we're going to learn. Seif Chet, Aruch. Hirhur ba'asakav mutar. You can think in your head about your business dealings on Shabbos. Mikol makom mishum oneg Shabbat mitzvot shelo yachshov b'hem klal. But if you want really good oneg Shabbos, don't do that. I think mitzvah here literally means it's like a good practice, which shows up in a lot of places, right? And you should act on Shabbat as if all of your work is completed. And I wanted to, the Mishnah Berurah here, which is actually, I think, based on the Gra, if I'm not mistaken, and also a Sif Katan Lamed Tet. But we're going to give you two in a row, because Josie has written, she's read the really hard, long stuff so far. So Reuben, you're going to take this Mishnah Berurah Lamed Tet.
Okay. Lamed Tet, Ve'yehe be'einav v'chulei, v'chede'ita b'mechilta perek yitro. Sheshet yamim ta'avod v'asita kol melachtecha, v'chi efshar la'adam la'asot kol melachto b'sheshet yamim, ela shvut ke'ilu kol melachtecha asuya. Okay, and so we have a source for this in the Mechilta, in Yitro, from the verse, 6 days you shall work, and 6 days you shall labor and do all of your work. When it says v'chi efshar, I feel like it should say v'i efshar.
Well, I think it's a question, right? Is it possible?
Is it possible for a person to do all their work during the 6 days of the week? Rather, on Shabbos, one should rest as if one had completed all of one's work.
So it's a nice little, this is
very difficult to do. Yes, it's a wonderful sentiment, but it's very hard to achieve.
Yeah, I think it's a nice drush, and it's also something that is like, it's something to aspire to. Right? Of like, what does it really mean to go into Shabbos? It's like, even though you have a billion things on your mind still as you exit Shabbos, right? As you like jump into that shower for the last minute right before candlelighting, because you had so much work and you're running late. Is not me, because I'm a professional Jew, but for real people, like Josie's a real person who has real work to do in the world. So, of like, yeah, how do you like put out of your mind all the stuff you didn't complete in the week and go into Shabbat as if you did complete it? So,
yeah.
Okay, let's make a huge jump here to Seif Yud Aleph. I got an interesting topic. Also could be politically problematic, but interesting topic. Yud Aleph mutar liknot bayit be'eretz Yisrael mina eno Yehudi b'Shabbat v'chotem u'maleh b'arkaot. And the Haggah finishes Shelahem, right? Bichtav Shelahem de'eno asur rak mid'Rabbanan u'mishuv yishuv Eretz Yisrael lo gazru. So he says you can buy a house from a non-Jew on Shabbat, and you can have it signed and sealed in the non-Jewish courts. Like official. You get a lawyer to go in our world to go do it. Right? We don't use the courts anymore for this. And they can sign it with their own writing because that's only a derabanan isur, and because of settling the land of Israel, there's no gezerah of not allowing them to write. So, all right, we're gonna see that. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a question before we do any of the
Yes.
Mishnah Berurah? When the Rama says "De'eno asor rak midivrehen," is he referring to like writing a document for a ba'ar ka'ot, like not in Hebrew, or is he talking about ktiva bichlal?
It's such a great question. You should read the Mishnah Berurah. I'm about to assign you.
Oh, great.
Let's do it's Mishnah Berurah Mem Zayin. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I really am. Okay, great. I
Yeah,
set myself up.
we did not plan this. This is amazing.
No, I didn't. Okay. De'eno asor rak midivrehen. רוצה לומר, הכתיבה זו היא מדרבנן, והווה שבות דשבות, על ידי ארץ ישראל, no, that's,
Eno Yudi.
על ידי אינו יהודי, thank you, okay, of course, על ידי אינו יהודי.
I'm sorry, I lost my ruler jumped. Where are we again?
We're at Mem Zayin in the Mishnah Berurah.
But I don't, and what is this next Roshei Tevot?
Sorry, Mishum Hachi, is that where you are?
Umishum Hachi, okay, thank you. Umishum Hachi, Hitiru Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so his explanation of this is that this ktiva in particular, which sounds to me like non-Hebrew script, or maybe it's the writing of
You are exactly right. I'm
okay.
just, if you guys look over in the Biur Halacha for 1 second, very quickly, here he says, right, Bichtav Shelahem, I am Mishnah Berurah, Ibn Shadin Zeh Hu Nafka Mina Lechama Devarim, right, a lot of important things that come out of this, the distinctions. Amarti Leva'er Devar Zeh, I want to explain it. He says, he's Neharama Hetik B'Shem Or Zarua Dichtiva Acheret, Chutz Miktav Ashri Hu Rak Midirabanan, right? The opinion, the Rama copies that if you don't write in Ktav Ashuri, that's the Hebrew script that we use, not the original Hebrew script, right, which Chazal are very aware of, then that is only derabanan, right? The Isur of Ktivan Shabbat is writing the Hebrew letters that we have in the Sefer Torah, essentially.
He mentioned specifically the Biur Halacha because that's what they talk about. You can write in Ktav Ashuri, Ktav Yavani.
Exactly. So you can write a Torah in Ktav Yavani, yes, that, as well. It's but yeah. So in other words, if you're writing in, I don't know, this is the Arkaot in Poland, or right, well, this is the in the Ottoman Empire, right? So if you write in Arabic, they write what do they write in the Ottoman Empire? I have no clue. I assume probably Arabic, right? Was the court language?
I would assume so, but I'm not a historian, so
yeah. It's Kemal Ataturk who changes the whole thing to Turkish, but I think, maybe I'm wrong, and this is being recorded. But anyway, you write in a different language, write in English. That is a derabanan according to the Or Zarua. So
that's fascinating. Okay, so that is to say that this non-Jewish script is derabanan, and so it's a shvut because you're using a non-Jew to do this, or it's by means of a non-Jew, so that's a shvut, and that's why it's permitted for the sake of settling Eretz Yisrael.
Right. General principle we've seen shvut to shvut b'mkom mitzvah, right?
Shvut to shvut b'mkom mitzvah. That's right.
And this is, by the way, for instance, I'll give you an example that I saw once. I was on a Hadar Shabbaton, and the building was locked. We were supposed to be someone there to unlock it for us, a non-Jew actually, who you could ask, and there was an electric panel that you had to type in a code. And so Rabbi Ethan Tucker said, well, since we hold, and this is most people hold this, and we that electricity by itself is just a Rabbanan, right? Just a Rabbanan is Derabanan, as opposed to the Chazon Ish. And he said, so if I do a shinui to press the numbers on the panel, then it becomes a shvut to shvut l'tzorach mitzvah because we're davening in this space or we were eating in this space. I can't remember which it was, right? And so he like, I think he like took a key out and used the key to press the panel or something and did it with his other hand just to, that's an example. Shvut to shvut l'tzorach mitzvah or kol mitzvah is permissible on Shabbos. So real life, case. So maybe all this, right? This gets into also questions of like, I'll throw it out there, like hotel rooms, right, with electric or magnetic keys, right?
Yeah, there's no way around that.
And so I will admit I can do this how I do it. Some people will ask a non-Jew to do it. It becomes that's a shvut to shvut, assuming you need to sleep on Shabbos or whatever, or maybe you're eating in your room. I think I've been yelled at for doing this. I put the key in my mouth and do it that way.
That's your shinui?
Yeah, it becomes a diverse, but it's not even guaranteed that it works every time. So
right, so even better because it's extremely
grama, there you go.
It becomes a grama. Sometimes I have to do it a few times. You never know. And there's a whole thing about the light and covering it, but that's a whole nother. It can also
I've seen people do that. Yeah.
But the light could be a secret de la nechale, all sorts of stuff there. But these are complicated. I did ask somebody once when I was who was a student of Rav Schachter about it, and they said, yeah, Rav Schachter actually agrees with you. You shouldn't ask the non-Jew because it looks not good for Jews if you're asking non-Jews to open your door, and you should do it with a shinoi, a significant shinoi.
That's actually really good to know because I'm traveling at the end of the month, and I'm certain we're going to get electric keys. And I'm also traveling with a Jewish person who's not observant, and it's not like I can tell. I don't want to ask her, and I really would prefer it if she wouldn't, right?
Yes.
So the way to do it that's a little bit more Shabbos-tic than I do it.
Yeah. So these are good things, and look,
behind my back or with my teeth.
Exactly. It's very hard to find a hotel these days. There are a few, but that have physical keys.
It is, yeah.
If your hotel is outside the Eruv, that's its own interesting thing in terms of I've had hotels either hiding keys in hotels. I do that a lot, or I've asked.
I've actually just found that it's super easy because I did this a couple years ago in Maine. You just go to the front desk and say, I'm a Sabbath observer. I cannot carry my key outside. Can I leave my key at the desk with and sometimes I leave my driver's license. So like, this is my key, this is my driver. You can see it's me.
Yes.
And sometimes they're like, I know who you are, no worries.
Yeah.
But leave it with my drive, and can I get it later? And as often as not, they'll also say like, oh, do you want me to open the door for you? And if they offer, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, just wait for me. I'm going to climb the stairs.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely true. And I've had that happen where I've given my key to the front desk before, and they said, "Oh, if sometimes they understand," and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna, let me take you up to your room." And so
yeah, so at least in America right now, they're relatively understanding about that. So
yes, exactly. So, but I have though in other hotels found places to hide my key, inside the hotel, and all right,
potted plant somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. There's sometimes behind fire extinguishers, but
get really creative. Yeah.
Okay. Where were we? Oh, we're still
Ayin Biur Halacha, is it?
No. You were in the Mishnah Berurah Mem Zayin. And this is right. We had the Or Zarua's idea here that writing in non-Hebrew script would be just the Derabanan, so you get a shvut to shvut. So, and then we were in Or Zarua, and then he says Vayin beve'or halacha.
Biur Halacha shebiyanu dat Or Zarua dat yechida hi ve'ein la shum makom b'shas ve'kol haposkim chokim al zeh. Okay, so that's interesting. So the Or Zarua is a lone opinion and has no support from Shas, and all the poskim are in disagreement about this, which makes me feel better because I never heard of this before.
Yeah.
The Sfira le de'af b'ktav shelahem hu isor midoraita. Debekol lashon chayav k'de'ita b'Mishnah Shabbos. Okay, so the poskim, or is this Sfira this is in the plural. This is referring to the
What do the poskim actually think that afkid kitav shelahem?
Okay, so it's referring to the poskim. So they think that even so basically writing in any language, even in writing in non-Hebrew script, it's an iser midoraita. You're chayav for writing in any language, which so support from that for that is from the Mishnah. And
Yeah,
even so,
good support, by the way, I guess the Orzera there. It's like it's a Mishnah. Yeah.
it's a Mishnah. I would love to know more about why the Orzera held that way, but maybe we don't know. But nevertheless, but even so, it's still permitted here if you use a non-Jew because of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Ve'afta mechaber pasak lekaman b'siman shin zayin seif hey de malacha deoraita asur al yedei eno Yehudi afilu letzorech mitzvah ze adifa. ולפי זה אסור לומר לאינו יהודי בשבת לכתוב מכתב אפילו לצורך מצווה אם לא שהוא גם כן צורך גדול אפשר דיש אוקיי אפשר דיש להקל בעין לאל בסימן ריש עין וו וכולי וכולי. So sorry 1 second. So when the Mechaber paskins later on in Shin Zayin that a malacha deoraita, which Ketiva, for example, is an Isser, even if it is done by means of a non-Jew, even Litzorech mitzvah. And when he says Ze adifa, does he mean preferable to the Orzarua? Or
Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is something above that. That's the reason. Like he's dealing with the fact that unless you follow the Ruah, now you have a problem because now you have a shvut.
Okay.
Mitzvah for Yishuv Eretz. Why can you buy a house in Eretz Yisrael, right, from a non-Jew, right, on Shabbos? It's only a single shvut. It's like this seems to have a higher level to it in such a way that it, yes, in general, to ask a non-Jew to do a deraita is asur on Shabbat, but to do this is mutar because it has some higher status.
Okay, so this has a higher status, despite the fact that it's malacha deraita asur al yedei enu Yehudi.
Exactly.
For this particular mitzvah, that's not the case. Okay, and because of this, it's forbidden to say to a non-Jew on Shabbos to write you a letter, even l'tzorech mitzvah, unless there's unless the tzorech is really great.
And then he has these 3 words, efshar yesh lakel. It's possible. So
it's possible to be lenient.
So the Mishnah Berurah is willing to entertain the idea that there are certain really great mitzvot or really great needs for which you can ask a non-Jew to write for you on Shabbos.
Right? And do you think he would say this is one of them?
Well, he definitely thinks Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is one of them.
Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is one of them. Yes. Okay.
The Mechaber thinks that. Whether or not he thinks he's saying, I think there might be other cases. Right? He's not saying what they are. He just says, I think there might be some other cases. I don't know let's start people, especially considering how fast their mail went back then. I guess you could do correspondence like, you get someone, a non-Jew who, can be a runner or something like that and get somewhere fast, in town.
Tiranim.
Yeah, exactly. And all those other great Persian words of people who jobs I don't understand in Megillat Esther. So is satrap, is that a real word? Do I know that?
That's a real word. Yeah.
So okay. Good. How are we doing on time? We got 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
So all right. Let's start mitzvah. We're gonna go to Yud Bet. Oh yeah, these ones I like. So let's go. I'll read Sif Yud Bet, and then we'll. All right. Mutar le'achriz b'Shabbat al aveda afilu hi davar shasur l'taltalo. I can get up in shul on Shabbat and be like, I found a red hat. Or it doesn't be red hat. I found a hat. Someone give me a simanim. Right. Come get your aveda. We'll get into that in a second. Mishnah Berurah. Mutar le'hatir chermei tzibor b'Shabbat afal pi she'enu letzorach Shabbat. You can release people from their cherem on Shabbat, that their nidui, cherem and nidui are different, but here I'm using them interchangeably. Hu'il v'hu yom knufya l'rabim. Why? Because today that's a day of like gathering for the people. Haviki ske rabim d'shar l'daberbam, and therefore this is like the business of the public, and you're allowed to speak about it. Aval. But you can only put someone cherem on Shabbat for the needs of Shabbat, right? But
So
okay.
when you have afilu hi davar she'asur l'taltalo, is that like you can announce it? You know, a red hat isn't muktzah. So is this referring to something that's muktzah or something that's like I found this sack of coins. It's muktzah on Shabbat. You can't care like you couldn't pick it up and
Yes.
do something about it. Like
we're gonna do that in the Mishnah Berurah. Oh, did I assign that one? I don't know if I assigned. I think I did. This is great. Yeah, it should be. Did I? Well, let's see. Because wait, do you have those words in your Shulchan Aruch?
what words?
Oh, I did. I skipped it. I skipped the filu davar she'asur l'taltalo. Right. You can even announce about something you are allowed to carry. Yeah, we're gonna do that one. Okay. Josie, you're up. Membet, memchet.
Al aveda shimishi yodea ba yavo v'yagi.
Yeah, this is the opposite. By the way, this is did anyone find a red hat? But you know, it sounds like. But
the hashava deveda mitzvah, because returning a lost object is a mitzvah. Lamar lemisha yodea mimena sheyeshivena. And you should say, does somebody know? You know,
I think that is to say that that the person who knows that you're right. You should say to them, whoever knows about this should return it. You are right. So
this is I lost a thing, right? You can say, like, has anybody seen my sack of gold denarium, right?
Yes.
As opposed to okay. So you're announcing I lost an object, not I found an object. This isn't a found object. Gamzeh hu bichlal hefte shamayim v'sharei. This is still considered hefte shamayim, and we permit it. V'nahagu lahachriz gam al avedat eno Yehudi mibnei darkei shalom uv'makom sakana peshita desharei. So if and we also are accustomed to announce the lost items. You know, has anybody seen Christian Slater's hat, right? Mibnei darkei shalom, because we're trying to be like good citizens.
Exactly.
And of course, if he's holding a knife to your throat and says, "Did you see my sack of gold coins?" Of course, you can announce it.
Or not even like that, even like they're gonna, the non-Jews are gonna burn to do some bad stuff if they find out we're not returning.
To ransack our building.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
All right. Any kind of danger. The kanvu ha'konim, the huadin the mutar lahachriz b'shabbat al geneva. And the Acharonim have said that the law is also permitted to announce that something has been stolen.
Exactly.
By the way, somebody stole my hat or my bag.
Yeah, you're allowed to do
that. But
so
did Max forget about the time change?
No. Max had another commitment, but told me he was going to be try to be here for some of it. So we appreciate.
I prefer to believe him.
Hi, Max.
If you're where I think you are, I really want to know why there's nothing on the bookshelves. But that's the.
What happened?
I missed. What did you say?
I said, why is there nothing on the bookshelves behind you?
They got moved.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Empty bookshelves are, fancy.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Not my bookshelves. No.
Yeah, and that I know. Your bookshelves have very nice books on them. Josie, read Memtet also in the Mishnah Berurah. Afilo. This is where he said even is your question, something you can't move on Shabbat because it's muksa.
Right. Even though you couldn't return the thing today. You're announcing it because everybody's there. Right? Shabbat is when everybody's in shul. You're not going to announce it when nobody's around. You stand in the town square, you're going to go to the shul and say, by the way, has anybody seen my, sack of gold dinar?
Exactly. We just finished Memtet there, Max, by the way. So in the Sifkat on the Mishnah Berurah. So exactly. So you're allowed to do these things on Shabbat. They are the time, this is already recognizing people congregate on Shabbat, they gather. It's probably the best shot you're going to have to make an announcement in front of the entire Jewish community. So for L'tzorech Mitzvah, you're allowed to do this.
And just to spell out what would potentially be the issue with announcing a lost object on Shabbos, I mean, one, it could be muktzah, so you don't want to encourage people to move it. Is it also, does that have anything to do with like things going from one reshut to another? I mean, what are the potential issues?
I think it's daber davar, right? You're speaking about like it's like in some ways a
It's
little
a
bit.
whole type of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Especially if you're speaking about moving something muksa, right? You're like, hey, I found this
Yeah.
sack of gold. You're not talking about doing a forbidden labor on Shabbat of returning that object to them, you know. But while you obviously can't return it on Shabbos, what you can do is you can announce it because it's either it's chefsei shamayim or it's this is a higher purpose here at this point. So okay, good. Let's see, that's Yud Gimel. I may have actually done some half decent. I'm very proud of myself. We actually getting through most of the stuff. I'm getting better at how much to assign. So Seifrid Gimel, we're gonna look at him again, Abraham here. So go back to your Shulchan Aruch, your regular Shulchan Aruch. So I don't know if anyone prints a Shulchan Aruch that also somewhere has the Mishnah Berurah in it with all the other classic posts.
I was wondering that too. It feels silly to not.
Yeah. I imagine you could do like just like for instance Orach Chaim, well, it would just be Orach Chaim, just the Magen Avraham, the Taz, and the Mishnah Berurah, right? It would be thing to
Great.
do. But I've never seen it. I'm sure I'm not sure. Somebody maybe does it. So all right, we're in Seif Yud Gimel. Oh yeah, I remember this. This is it's a good thing. But I'll read the Seif. Leachriz b'Shabbat al karka hanimkar. Shekol mi sheyesh lo zechut ale alav yavo v'yagid v'im lav yovad zechuto asur. Right, you can't get up in shul and say, "Hey, Reuben sold me this property in Shabbat. Anybody have like a share that they're owed by Reuben? Reuben owes them money or something like that." And they're like, "I was going to collect from his property." Right, you want to make sure that there's some sort of achariyut on this. You can't do that on Shabbat. And the Rama adds, "V'chein asur leachriz yayin b'Shabbat dehave kemecho memkar." You can't get up and announce that. I think was I going to do a piece on the yayin? That there's this barrel of wine that are going to be open on Shabbos, not on Shabbos, going to be open soon, and like everyone come take or try, or that's really like sounds like business at that point. So okay, what did I want to do? Magen Avraham, Kafchet. It is right here, right? This is is that on Yud Dalet? Yeah. This is sorry. That's a good piece, but we're gonna skip that. We're gonna go to Yud Dalet, even better. Oh, this is crazy case. All right. Misha shlacho lo shetzio bito mi beito b'Shabbat leotzia michlal Yisrael. You get a shaliach comes to you and says your daughter got taken away on Shabbos to like become a non-Jew essentially, right? The Christians took her away. This is kind of filling in the roof-esque. Mitzvah lasum lederach pamav lishtadel b'hatzlata. You're allowed to take off for the road, to prepare yourself for the road, to make an effort of saving her. You can even go outside of the 3 parsangs, which is potentially the Dioraita limit on Shabbos. Right, the Tehum that we normally have is a Derabana one, but there's a debate, but there might be a Deraita one. V'lo bae Beit Din gozrin alav, right? And if you don't want to do it, the Beit Din's gonna come down. They're gonna make a decree against you, right? So it's so you are allowed on Shabbos to go after your threatening to be converted or convert to Christianity daughter. Why your daughter in particular, I'm not sure, but maybe that was more common. Okay. Let's see. Max, since you just joined us, mitzvah. But I think it's a lasum. I'm actually judging. It's an expression which is to get ready to go to the road, but I'm not sure if it's based on shum or based on sequence.
It's the vowels here say sum.
It is okay. So I read it right the first time. So maybe. All right. Kafchet, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. V'afal gav de'iev sharlo adam.
Inomrim lo le'adam.
De'ein omrin lo le'adam chet bishvil shizkeh chavercha.
I think it's
sorry, chata.
Yeah, exactly. Like go sin, right? We
or
don't
chato.
No, it's the imperative. Chato probably. Yeah, chato. Yeah, something
Chato.
like that. Yeah.
Chato bishvil shizkeh, right. Kamo shekatav siman reish nun daled sif vav. Shani hatam de pashaba de pasha b'ma shehidbik pot. Mashein kain kan.
Good.
Right. So
I
the
will-
other case, I had this because there was a big chakira that Rav Moshe had here too.
Mhm.
Right. I'm just trying to find it. Right. This is a case of bread that was put into an oven on Shabbos that shouldn't have been. And the question is, should someone take it out of the oven so that it doesn't, I guess, it's not bishul kultur kab.
AJ, I'm just going to back up here. This is the whole thing in their ovens, right? You're sticking the bread on the side of the oven, right? And there's an Isur de Rabbanan to remove the bread from the oven on Shabbat, from the wall of the oven on Shabbat, like that. But you put it in on Shabbat, and now you're about to have an Isur de committed of like the thing is going to bake on Shabbat, right? And there's a whole question in the first chapter of Masechet Shabbat. Can you commit the Rabbanan violation in order to prevent yourself from being chayav achatat? And so they say, yeah, you can. The way the Shulchan Aruch passes is you can. But now the question is, well, wait a second. What if I stuck the bread on the oven? Can I say, Max, can you go take it down, violate the Derabanan, so I don't have a Deraita on my hands? And there, I'm going to actually share my screen here. It's maybe this will, where did my share screen thing go? That I got to find. I don't know. Joel, good. I try to have this and my assignment. There it is. I found it. Okay. I will share my screen for a minute here. You can see, I'm just going to read this here. Right. This is Magen Avraham and Reish Nun Daled. Enomrim lo le'adam aseh chet kal bishvil shelo yaseh chavercha isur chamor. You can't say to somebody, go commit a small sin so that your friend doesn't have a big sin. Kevan shelo naseh isur al yado, right? Because they weren't the ones who did the isur, in the first place. V'gam chavero pashav b'ma, and it was your friend who made a mistake. They were negligent in sticking the bread in the oven in the first place, right? So, like, why should you have to commit a small sin just so they, so they don't sin with a big sin? Which would sound like here. Also, like, why your daughter ran off with to become a Christian. Why should you violate Shabbat to go after them, right? You're violating the Tehum. And he's like, no. Here it's a little bit different. And because there, right, they were negligent. Here it seems like we'll see. It seems like maybe she didn't run off. She was like taken off, right? She's taken by somebody.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
Yeah. And so therefore it's not her fault, right? In this case, it's not like she did some sort of Shia. We're going to look at that. I think that I signed the Mishnah Berurah on this too, didn't I? Or no, I didn't do this. No. But I will, we'll do one more. We're out of time. It's too bad because there is actually, Ruben, you're learning with the Gemara program right now. The next one I assigned, Magen Avraham, if you saw it, actually has a piece that we learned in the first parak of Ketubot recently.
Very cool.
Applicable piece. All right, we'll end there. Next week, I sent out a bunch of assignments. Who knows if it all meshes together or not yet. We'll figure that out. But
I wanted to say, I don't know who is responsible for what. I love the organization of the source sheet.
Say more.
Just like first, this is not to be. Sorry, this is being recorded.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording.